the naturopath. Thank you for coming back. How do you complete, or how do you do a proper heavy metal detoxification? If you haven't got Candida Crusher, I'm pretty sure there's a good few pages on detoxing, but particularly heavy metal detoxification in there. I talk a bit about it. So it's something I did a lot of many years ago when I worked with a medical doctor friend of mine. We conducted many different detoxification tests and detoxification programs on a wide variety of patients over about a 5-year period. This would have been, I'm just trying to remember now, it would have been around 2000, from around about 2001 up to about 2006, when I did particularly an incredible amount of heavy metal cleansing with patients. I was very interested in this area. I've drifted out of it and focused more on digestive areas. And then you may say, well, this guy's a bit of a loser. First he did this, then he did that, and I couldn't see the relevance in heavy metal cleansing at the extent we were doing after several years, because I really couldn't see the return for the patients that they were expecting for the money that they were spending. Some people spend thousands of dollars on cleansers, and at the end they just feel just as crappy as they did at the beginning. Right? I didn't notice it all the time, but I notice it quite regularly with people. Don't become a pathological detoxifier. Okay? I'll say it again. Don't be a pathological detoxifier. What do I mean by that? Don't become a person who's obsessed with detoxing, okay? Who will do one cleanse after another cleanse after another cleanse. Some people I've talked to have been cleansing for 10 to 20 years. They go through all these cycles. And then I say, how do you feel? I feel like crap. Well, hang on a minute. You spent 10 years detoxing. You should feel like the Lord. You should feel like on cloud 9. You should be like, you should be amazing. I feel crap. I need another cleanse. Maybe they need to go to some sort of wacko hippie camp or something. I don't know where people end up, but I've seen them. That's what I'm saying. Don't become one of these freak shows. And they are out there. There's freaky people that think that life's all about one cleanse after another. Some people go on endless detoxification regimes, constant coffee enemas. One patient we had was doing coffee enemas per day for over 10 years, every single day a coffee enema. When we did a stool test result, guess what we found? 0 beneficial bacteria. And then the guy kept telling me how much he was having die-off, and I said, mate, you are going to bloody die off yourself if you keep worrying about this die-off thing. It's no laughing matter. Here's what you do. If you're worried about heavy metals in your body, I would ask you this question if you came to my clinic. What was your occupation up to now? What have you done? What's your exposure? Have you been scraping lead paint off buildings, burning it off and smelling it in? Were you a jeweler, involved in lots of soldering all the time? Or were you a guy like me who likes doing lead lighting, cutting glass and soldering that together and then sniffing all those lead fumes up as you're soldering? Have you worked in printing shops? Are you involved in the agricultural industry distributing fertilizer? In New Zealand we have top dressing planes, planes that fly and they dump fertilizer on fields, NPK fertilizer, and unfortunately got a lot of cadmium in the fertilizer, so these guys often have high cadmium levels. The point I'm making here is, once you've seen thousands of patients, you start to work out what professions have got the highest toxicity levels. Some of the worst? Road workers. Those poor guys that have to manipulate the asphalt and they're breathing all that crap in. So when a person comes to you with an occupation that's suspect, the first thing you can do is a hair test. Okay? There's 2 ways you can do a hair test. You can do this stuff or you can do that stuff. All right? The pubic hair concentrates toxins better than head hair. People don't usually get their pubic hair cut every 6 to 8 weeks. Not usually. Well, some people have got none. Well, for different reasons. But yeah, the head hair is good, but the pubic hair must be clearly marked on the envelope. This is pubic hair. And you'll find oftentimes that you may even pick some toxins up in the pubic hair that you didn't pick up in here. I lost several patients when I requested pubic hair samples because I thought I was a bit of a wacko. So yeah, there's a lot of strange people out there. But yeah, hair samples need to be taken at the occipitals, at the back of the head. And usually, from ear to ear, 4 or 5 small samples are taken just under. Of course, if the hair is dyed, permed, bleached or coloured, it's not going to work too well. check the shampoo, that you're using. So my recommendation is to work with only one lab with heavy metal, and it's Doctors Data in Chicago, Illinois. Is Illinois a state? Or is Chicago the state and Illinois I don't know. You're laughing if you're in America. But I remember asking people in Los Angeles where New Zealand was. And isn't that a part of the UK and England somewhere in New Zealand? That's in England or in Ireland, one guy said to me. So, yeah, it's funny, eh? Anyway, we're talking about heavy metal, weren't we? So get the hair test done, get it back, okay? You're going to have all the metals up the top, and you're going to have the minerals on the bottom. So you're going to request a mineral, heavy metal test, hair test that involves minerals and metals. So you look up the top and you're looking for a spike. You're looking for something that comes right out. Look for mercury, look at cadmium, look at arsenic. If it ain't in the hair, it ain't likely to be a big problem in the body, okay? So I've seen people, many people with small amounts of metals, and they immediately start wanting to have a massive full-on detoxification. Experienced practitioners who know heavy metal detox fall into two camps. Some doctors I know, every single problem is a heavy metal toxicity that requires 4 or 5 grams worth of detoxification. So they just push people through that cookie cutter protocol. Others will only detox when they see that the patient really needs detoxification and is actually physically affected by toxins. If I walked out there now in Times Square and I tested 1,000 people, I would find 895 or 900 had heavy metal in their body, observable heavy metal. And out of that 900, I would probably find about 100 with seriously high levels. And I'd find also a large amount with low to normal levels. So not one person walking on this globe today, probably unless you're in Antarctica or somewhere deep in the Mato Grosso in Amazon, will have heavy metal in their body. You've got it watching this now. You will have, see, that was like a gun, wasn't it? You've got likely heavy metal in your body right now. Could be aluminum, could be cadmium, could be arsenic. Everyone's got it. We're all breathing in the same air, but at what level does it become a problem? That's what I'm saying, okay? There's 60,000 chemicals plus registered on the CAS, the CAS database. How far do you want to go? Why don't we just test every single chemical in your body and then give you a printout of the 936 chemicals I found in your body, and let's just spend 70 grand trying to take 10 of those out. Do you really think it's going to make your health that much better? While you're walking around talking on these all day to your girlfriend and frying your brain and drinking water with probably fluoride in it or what? Think carefully about the heavy metal detox angle. It is a problem, and some people absolutely need detoxification. But in many cases, the costs and the burden far exceeds the return, okay? So we're going back to the hair test. So you got your hair test in front of you and you go, wow, mercury, look at the spike on that, it's really high. What I want you to do is check which element comes back at its highest, and then do a good thorough search online for that element and the health effects that it can potentially produce, and then have a careful look and think about that with what you've got. Now, many people will say, I've got all of those. Yeah, but hang on a minute, that could be something else too. It might not be the heavy metal, right? But if you're serious and you think, I'm sick, it's this metal, you can go a step further. You can do what's called the provocation test, right? So the provocation test will mean you take something orally or intravenously, and that provokes the body to dump more metal. But it only works for 4 metals. The provocation will work for arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury. The 4 sulfhydryl, or the metals that are attracted to sulfur, the 4 sulfhydryl metals will show up with the provocation. I don't think you can provocate aluminum from the body or other metals like that. When we're going into provocation testing, you're upping the ante. Okay, you're going a step further. I've been through all these procedures myself. I didn't like provocation. I felt physically sick from it. And as one of my PhD buddies explained to me, it's because I was probably magnesium depleted when I went into the provocation test. So when you get down that route, I hope you take a big fat checkbook with you, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. And there's no guarantee that after all of this shebang that you're going to come out feeling like, Alice in Wonderland. There's no guarantee. Okay? So be careful. But if you said to me, Eric, I have been involved with metal, I have been involved in agriculture, or I'm sick since I've worked on that job, and there's a clear-cut link between the toxins and your health, you're a fool not to go down that route. But for most average mums and dads at home, they don't need to spend 5 or 10 grand on a full-on detoxification. Okay? I even find it a waste of time, to be quite honest, for people who go to clinics, stop smoking, and then go on detox programs. I don't find it very beneficial for those kind of people either. Think carefully what you're doing, okay? And unless the symptoms are very much in line with the toxins and the occupation, it's probably not going to do that much for you, because you can do other detoxifications that aren't heavy metal that will be probably just as beneficial, if not more. Going on a good liver detox, for example, a kidney and liver detox. Again, you can read about that in Candida Crusher, it's all in there. So, listen to this again, this video, if you want to get the key points out of it. And let's just summarize things and wrap things up. Detox of heavy metals is very important, and for a very small amount of people, it's critical. But there's a very high likelihood that you're not a critical case that requires a 5 or 10k detox, okay? Think twice before going down the route, okay, of the hair test and provocation testing, and more and more and more. Think very carefully about doing multiple rounds, 7, 10, 15 rounds, and then the doctor getting you back again and again and again, okay? Think carefully, because it is a lot of money. Someone's making a lot of money, you're spending a lot of money, and sometimes you can get carried away, all right? Be very careful. But the hair test is a good starting point. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, and you'll get my 17-page Candida shopping list. Thanks for tuning in again.